Hey, Professor Holman with part 3 of Reading Flyer, and basically I did the top and bottom. We have our images ready to go, and I'm going to focus on the focal point right now. I'll zoom in down here, and there's not a whole lot to have here. I'm going to bring in the title, and I'm going to cut this, and I'll do Control X, and I'll zoom out again, and then I'll just make a text box. And you could always cut these more if you need to have something separate. And this is set up so that it's a visit by, so I'm going to hit a return there, and then I'll just have her name on its own, and then also I'll remove the comma, and I think I actually put author of like that. So we kind of set it up like that. I'll center it, and I'm keeping everything Minion Pro. Maybe I'll take her name, make it a lot bigger, and I'll try it with a serif right now. And then this down here I'll make a little bit bigger as well. Maybe I'll make it like 24. Now if it starts getting too big or it gets out of the box, just stretch the box a little more. And also this visit by, maybe I'll make that something like 24 or 18. 18 is probably fine. I'll put it in italic. I'll use Minion Italic. And this stuff down here, I'm going to make this 18 because I think this should be the same size, not as big as the book. I'll make that 18. And I want a little space, but there's almost too much space up here, and there's not enough here. So I'm going to do a space before. So just click in that author, as long as you have returns, and use your paragraph symbol, and just give some space between that. And then even down here, I might give a little space before that, just to make it a little separate. So I'm going to make this italic. And I'm doing a little different than the one I did, but... And nickel and dime, it looks odd on 2 lines as well. Even it's a very long name here, so I'll make this italic since it's the title of a book. And I guess it's okay like that. We'll have to see how the size works out. I'm not going to worry about color yet. Just get this thing set up in terms of how it, laying out can be, it's not easy. So try to get things kind of positioned and work with size before you start messing a whole lot with color and a whole lot with fonts. To get to this point, there's a, this wasn't my idea to start. I had it one way and then was like, well, it needs something, and I made this bigger, and then I stacked it, and then I threw in some red. And even the gold color, this off-white, was done at the end. And I had the book was down here. I brought it up here because I thought that it needed to really feature the book. So there's some things that are going to come in revisions as you work. So just get everything kind of organized and what's important on your flyer first before you start worrying about kind of tweaking it. So again, let me get my last bit of information here is basically the event, and that's all I need. So luckily there's not a ton of content on here, which makes it a little easier to design. I could delete this whole box on this side here. I don't need this. And I'm going to put in the event and paste it. And again, this is important, so we'll make this nice and big. And the event is Thursday, April 14th, and I'll make this, real big. Make it like 36, and I'll center it. Now this Q&A, it has interview with Q&A. What I actually did with this is put this on 2 lines and center it and make it kind of not as important. I mean, it's important, but, and I'll make it like 24. So, and here I need a little more length to the text frame, so I'll stretch that out a little bit. But what's more important is the date, and even this thing, this is the most important thing. So I have this at 36 right now. 48 is going to be like way too big. Well, not too bad. Maybe something like 44. And then I could make this, I could make this bolder. But again, I'm going to try not to worry about that yet. I'm going to try to make it look as nice as it can, or as nice as it can look without tweaking all the little fonts, because you could go crazy doing that. Get it organized first and then do the tweaking. Same thing down here. I should center this if I'm going with a centered layout, and I'll break this line so that the 2 kind of disclaimers at the bottom are here. I have an extra return at the end. I'll get rid of that, and then maybe I'll put a little space before this. I'll use that space before symbol just to separate, because I might want to make this reading is free and open to the public a little bigger. I might want to make that, it's it's like 12 point now. The other stuff can be 12 point, but maybe I if it's free, something's free, you might want to just put it in like 18 or something like that. So I just have my information organized on here, centered kind of layout. I have this thing is her bio, and you want to make sure that you put her name in bold and that you make titles italic in here. And sometimes what I'll also do in this box here, I'm moving it over because I might put her picture to the left here. So I'm just shortening the box to the side. I'm not using any text wrap yet. But another thing you might want to do, it's 12 point right now, and so it doesn't look like so cramped, is if you highlight this whole kind of paragraph that we're working and change the leading. Here's our leading, it's 12/14. We might want to just click up and maybe take it down to like 18 or 20 even. And that just gives a little more lightness to that, and makes it look a little more like a featured area. And you might have to tweak this to adjust the line spacing, or not the line spacing, but the line lengths. And I do have to go in there and make things like the New York Times italic. And when we do this, we want to make sure that even the titles of the books that, we don't put the dates in italic, we don't put commas in italic unless they're part of the title. Again, as I zoom out, you might want to also, it's hard to sometimes, you might want to click on your preview just to see how it looks. And so far, it's okay. This is standing out and the date's standing out. That's the important thing. I mean, that's not the easiest thing to get to. So maybe I'll throw her picture over here. Now, I'm not crazy about this picture, so I might crop it a little bit more, and then I might want to bring the book up here, and that's why I ended up stacking her name, because it was kind of, there's no good place to put the book, the way in this centered layout now, unless you put the book on either side down here, which I could do. I might do that. You saw my other layout, so I don't have to do it exactly like that. I could shorten this and possibly put the book, on the side over here, and have it kind of, like a mirror image down here, which is fine to do. That would, if I looked at that, that doesn't look bad. Just a little color here and there. I don't necessarily like to center these things. I mean, they're centered, but they're not centered copy. And what I mean is I don't want to, it's not easy to read a lot of copy that's kind of centered aligned. So although down here, it creates gaps here. So there's some design issues to deal with, but for right now, it's not too bad. I did go in and bring in another font when I did the other one. I highlighted this and I made it like a Helvetica Neue condensed black, and I used condense because she has a long name, so I wanted to make it as big as I could because if it's really wide, if you use like an Arial black or a real wide font, it's going to get stretched across the page pretty easily. So if you did like a condensed black like I have here, you could get pretty big with it. So that doesn't look bad. That really stands out nicely. And maybe I could, maybe I'd want to do this stuff in that same kind of font just to break it up. I wouldn't want to mix a whole lot of fonts, but maybe just the name of the person and the time, maybe that's good enough. So let me go back to find my Helvetica Neue condensed black, and I could have that, and maybe maybe we'll throw this in red. Maybe really have her name stand out a little bit. Maybe this looks almost like a little. Maybe I don't even need reading. I guess that's because there's an interview, I don't necessarily need to have that stand out, and the space is actually a little much right now, so I'm going to reduce that space that's in here. I think there's space after that. I'm not actually seeing it. I guess there is no space there, so maybe I'll just move this down a little bit, or maybe even make this a little bit smaller. I have that. I'm not sure what size I have. Let me go back. I think it was like 24. Looks like it was about 24. I might make it, go down to almost like 22 or something. Have that in there. I might have this in red. And that's not a bad layout for now. That's not a bad start. This isn't an easy layout to do. It's kind of balanced. Things are standing out. It's not perfect yet. And I'm going to stop here, and then I'll do my final kind of like some shadows and some little tweaks on here for my last videos.